You know, as a child, I grew up watching this fun-filled game show where you could win big bucks and big prizes and what have you. But there are some exceptions. A whammy, of course. As I talk about pressure luck today on the wide world of game shows. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews presents Wide World of Game Shows. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to the Wide World of Game Shows, a great series from Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews, which I'm the Big D, of course, duals the name. And today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite game shows I grew up watching. And it's a fun game, of course, where we have three contestants go after high stakes and big bucks, but they'll have to avoid the whammy as they play the most exciting game of their lives. And that game would just happen to be Press Your Luck. Press Your Luck was a fun-filled game show produced by the Creators Company, originally premiering on CBS in 1983, replacing Mark Goodson's recent hit, Child's Play. Hosted by Peter Tamarkin and announced by Rod Wright, this of course being the second game show he would announce after the short-lived before he would take over the role of announcer for The Price is Right after the death of Johnny Olsen. This was a fun-filled, challenging game. Now, for this episode, I am going to talk about all versions of this game. Now, of course, I'll be focusing on Pressure Luck, but I will also talk about its later series, Whammy, the all-new Pressure Luck from the 2000s, and also talk about the current version that recently came to ABC a couple of years back. Anyway, Pressure Luck, yeah. Probably one of the most exceptionally funny games there ever was. Now, I gotta say, I really do love this show. As a kid, I grew up watching this and what have you. Now, the show, however, was a retooled version of another company that the Creators produced. And I will show that to you. Give me a sec. Now, this, of course, is the logo to the precursor to Pressure Luck. It was called Second Chance. Second Chance originally premiered on ABC in March of 1977. The show was hosted by Jim Peck, who would later go on to host the underrated Three's a Crowd, with Jay Stewart, who was the announcer for Let's Make a Deal, and of course he would start being the announcer for Barry and Enright's The Joker's Wild and Tic-Tac-Toe. Jack Clark also served as an announcer as well. Clark was actually was the original announcer for CBS's Telltales and for others. And it was a production of the Creators Company in association with Warner Brothers. Now, of course, three contestants competed on the show, and the show saw contestants answer trivia questions in order to earn spins on a large game board with various cash amounts and prizes. 2 rounds of play consisting of 1 question round and 1 board round were played. And now each question round consisted of 3 questions. After hearing the question, the contestant had 5 seconds to write their answers on pieces of cardboard and place the answers in a slot in front of them. None of the contestants could see what the others had answered. Once they answered, Peck would inform the contestants that at least 1 or 2 of them was either right or wrong, or that the contestants had all given the same answer. He then gave the contestants a choice of whether to stick with their answers or take a second chance by changing their answer to one of 3 choices provided by Peck himself. Correct answers earned the points, which were converted to spins in the second half. 3 points were awarded to the correct initial answer, while 1 point was awarded to the correct second chance answer. In On the big game board, there are 18 spaces. Now, to get that, what's on there, the contestants use a buzzer in front of them to stop a flashing randomizer light, which moved in a pattern around the board at a high rate of speed. And wherever the randomizer landed on when the contestant stopped, it was given to him or her. The game board featured 9 cash squares with orange and yellow backgrounds and 6 squares with gift boxes, which were used to represent prizes. But 3 squares feature a cartoon figure referred to as the devil. And that was like the bankrupt, like on Wheel of Fortune. Anyway. And then after that, they do it again and then go on for another round. Whoever has the most amount of money wins. After 95 episodes were produced and aired, the show ended in July of that year. Now, there are some episodes available on YouTube. If you haven't seen Second Chance, I think maybe give it a try. Some of those aren't in the best quality, and one does have an episode, but in audio only. I guess they couldn't get the picture to come up too well, so I hope y'all understand that. But right now, about 6 years later, we got Pressure Luck. Yes, once again, created by Bill Carruthers, plus Jan McCormack. The show premiered on CBS in September of '83. Now then, let's see here. Now, of course, the show's host was Peter Tamarkin, and Rod Raleigh was the primary announcer. John Harlan and Charlie O'Donnell, who also would later go on to do the Joker's Wild and Tic-Tac-Toe, as well as other Barry and Enright games in their last few projects before going to the USA Network and syndication and their news shows for syndication in the 90s. And of course, he would also be the announcer of Wheel of Fortune, filled in on different occasions. Now, the game featured contestants collecting spins by answering trivia questions once you buzz in, and then later using the spins on an 18-space game board to win cash and prizes. Now, of course, you buzz in, you give a correct answer. Once the contestant gave an answer, the remaining opponents were given a choice of that or 2 additional answers provided by Tamarkin and selected one. Now, if the original answer was correct or deemed close enough to the correct answer to be acceptable, then he'd give 2 incorrect answers in addition to the correct answer. Otherwise, he gave 1 correct and 1 incorrect answer to form a 3-way multiple choice question. Now, if the contestant that buzzed in gave the correct answer, it earned 3 spins. A correct multiple choice answer was worth 1 spin. If none of the 3 contestants buzzed in within 5 seconds, 3 answers were given in a multiple choice. But if a contestant buzzed in but failed to give an answer, that contestant was locked out of the question and was treated the same way as if nobody had buzzed in. Yes, after 4 questions were asked, they moved to the big board. Now, the board consists of 18 spaces arranged in a 6x5 rectangle, each of which has a screen in it that displayed one of 3 items which change rapidly, and a randomizer light which the contestants stop by hitting their buzzer to get big bucks and what have you. Give me a second. Now here's what the big board looks like. Now on the various spots, you got various amounts of money, plus money amounts with free spin, and even prizes. Sometimes they may have a go back a spot or 2, or maybe 2, or you can pick a spot, or there's even big bucks which you can get. Now each time you yell stop, it'll highlight the spot you're on. Now, with a various amount of money will be added to your score and what have you. And if it's got a free spin, it'll be added to your spin. Now, if you've accumulated a lot of money, you can pass your spins if you like, and have the next person take on the amount of spins. But they have to take all the past spins and what have you. But if something happens, well, it'll be since their earn column, which I'll get to in a bit. Also, on the board, there are various prizes and what have you. It could be something good for your home. It could be a trip, or it could be something even bigger and better, like a motorcycle, or sometimes even a car. Once you've highlighted, if a prize is highlighted for you, its total will be added to your score. Beware the dreaded whammy. Hello. Yeah, this is the bankrupt spot. The whammy is this little red guy who will take away your money and prizes. If you hit 4 whammies, you're history. Your game's over instantly. I throw in my own voice for the whammy just for fun and what have you. Now the whammy, of course, that became the big thing for Press Your Luck. And that's what made it even bigger and better than its predecessor, Second Chance. Anyway, yeah. Now, the Whammies were created by Savage Steve Holland and Bill Kopp, who would later go on to work on the 90s cartoon Eek the Cat. Carruthers voiced the Whammy and what have you. Anyway, now if you hit a whammy, you're sent back to 0 as he takes away your money and prizes. Now, in the first big board round, the play started with the contestant with the fewest spins, unless there was a tie, in which case the contestant seated first left started. Now, of course, if you hit a whammy, if you've used a past spin, the past spins will go to your earn column. Now, another problem is if all contestants whammy, it forfeits. It eliminates them from the game. Well, and what have you. But they would return. This has happened a few times before. And of course, any spins they had remain if the contestant whammies 4 times, they are forfeited. Now then, once all spins have been played, a second round of trivia questions followed with the same rules as before, and then a second big board round followed, with much higher stakes in play. Now the contestants played in order of their scores, lowest to highest, unless there was a tie between 2 or more contestants, in which case the contestant with the fewest spins started the round. Now any past spins as before went to the opponent with a higher score. That's what they mean. The contestant in the lead at the end of the second big board round won the game, kept his or her wings, and returned on the next show. The game ended in a 2 or 3-way tie. The tied contestants returned for the next show as well. If 2 contestants whammied out of the game, the third had any spins left, he or she could play against the house and take as many of their earned spins as he or she wanted until they used them all, whammied out, or decided to stop. If a contestant playing against the house decided to stop before using up all their spins, the game immediately ended. If a game ended with all contestants having whammied out, none of them returned. Well, actually, yeah, that's true. And 3 new contestants were added. I made a mistake there, so I apologize for that. My apologies. I'm all mixed up. Now, on the board values, cash amounts range from 100 to 1,500, and prizes typically were worth no more than 2,000. The second round featured cash amounts from 500 to 5,000, prizes potentially worth $6,000 or more. There was also other spots that included double your dollars, which doubled the contestant's score, and it later became double your dollars plus an extra spin. Then there was add a 1, which added a 1 to the front of a contestant's current score. And the third, $2,000 or lose 1 whammy, offered the contestant a choice of adding $2,000 to his or her score. The 2000 was automatically added if the contestant had no whammies, or removed a whammy received earlier in the game. Add 1 was only featured in the first big board round, with the others only appearing in the second big board round. Then, of course, there's big bucks. And it could go from any of those spots, big money spots. The limits on wings, any contestant who won 5 games or exceeded the wings cap, whichever occurred first, retired undefeated. Now, for the first year, any contestant who won over $25,000 retired undefeated, but was allowed to keep any wings over that amount up to $50,000. The CBS game show wings cap was doubled to $50,000 in November of 1984, with contestants now being allowed to keep any wings up over that up to $75,000. Excuse me. Later on, there would be a home player spin. Yes, because that home player could actually win a little something, and also possibly get a No Whammies T-shirt. Anyway, the show actually did pretty well for CBS. Pressure Luck did. Now, of course, Peter Tamarkin had come on to host after his short 13-week stint as host of NBC's Hitman. And anyway, the show was placed in between the new $25,000 pyramid and The Price is Right. For the next 2 years, it went up against NBC's Sale of the Century. Soon, in January of '86, just a few months before it came to an end, they relocated in order to make room for the Bob Eubanks hosted revival of Card Sharks. Pressure Luck replaced Body Language, another Mark Goodson produced game, in the late afternoon slot. Now, Tamarkin stated that by the fall of '85, the contract for The Price is Right was up for renewal, but CBS was unable to pay Mark Goodson Productions the kind of money they wanted to keep it going. So anyway, Pressure Luck aired their final episode in September of 1986, but was not acknowledged as the finale. The final tapings took place in August of that same year when its cancellation was first announced. And then after 761 episodes were produced and aired. Anyway, during later runs, in 1987, the USA Network got to air in reruns, where it remained on its schedule until 1995, when they dropped the game show blocks and what have you. In 2001, the game was actually brought back to Game Show Network for the first time. It's been shown on again and off again from that network. It also currently airs in Canada on Game TV, and more recently, it's been shown on the Game Show Diginet Buzzer, which you can see on weekday afternoons and Sunday mornings, as it's owned by Fremantle Media, who also owns Card Sharks and The Price is Right. In 2006, it was shown with Ricky Lake as part of the month-long game show marathon on CBS. In 2002, there will be a new version of the game that I will show you. Give me a moment. After having successive reruns with the original Pressure Luck, Game Show Network picked up its own series in the form of Whammy, the all-new Pressure Luck, which I thought was pretty good when I first watched it. Now, that premiered in April of 2002 and was produced by Fremantle North America in association with GSN. And it was played just as its predecessor. Now, then, the show was hosted by Todd Newen, who would later go on to host Family Game Night on the Hub, now Discovery Family Channel to y'all. And he would later go on to host interstitials for the Monopoly Millionaires Club game show. And Gary Kroeger, who recently was a former cast member of Saturday Night Live, and also, and recently hosting the first the first season of the revived Newlywed Game in the '90s, and also the host of Beat the Clock, as well as he became the announcer for the 2001 revival of Card Sharks, which was terrible. He, of course, did the announcing for this. This show ran for only 2 seasons, but had a total of 130 episodes. Now, the first round of that game started out with playing for various amounts of money and just went through one cycle and what have you. And then but after one round, the whammies keep popping up. So you have to be careful. And if you're scared of the whammy, you just say to freeze, and your cash will be freeze. If you hit a whammy in round 1, then you're eliminated from further play in the first round. The next round consisted of 5 questions and 4 in some episodes. Now, actually, before Todd Newman hosted, there was actually a pilot that featured Peter Tamarkin hosting, but unfortunately, this was just before he died in a plane crash and what have you, in the ocean, what have you, or something. But anyway, now, of course, just like before, you buzz in, get a response, and their response with 2 other choices will provide, if they choose the correct ones, the correct answer earns 3 contestants for the buzz answer and 1 for multiple choice. Then the final round, they doubled the amount of money, but there was also double whammies, which, in addition to bankruptcy, added a physical consequence following the whammy's appearance, like spraying the contestant with water or dropping ping pong balls on them. Yes. Now, that's another thing I should tell you about the whammies and what have you. Now, they actually did various parodies of various big stars. Now, in the original Press Your Luck, now the Whammy did spoof some characters like Michael Jackson and, let's see, I believe the Beatles as well, which that was pretty funny. Let's see, and even Boy George. Yeah, various celebrities in my view. When Whammy, the all-new Press Your Luck came along, that one spoofed a ton of them. NSYNC, Emerald Lagasse, let's see, Ozzy Osbourne, even Martha Stewart, Harry Potter. There was even a Britney Spears Whammy, which that was a real surprise. When I first saw that one, that was, wow, total mind-blowing. Okay, that about covers it. Okay, enough said. Now, Press Your Luck actually got to return later. Well, as of this day, back in 2019, hosted by Elizabeth Banks. Anyway, now, of course, it was just like the same thing and whatever. But however, there was a new bonus game. The champion of that game faces the big boy alone and can win up to $1 million in cash and prizes. It was divided into 5 rounds, each of which requires the champion to take a specific number of spins without stopping. They could win just about anything. If they can stop day 1, or unless they hit 4 whammies, then it's game over instantly. Well, I think that version might be returning, but I can't guarantee you that. I have seen the current Press Your Luck, and, well, it's not bad, and what have you, so... Anyway, I think Press Your Luck is just one of, if not the most funniest games that I've ever seen when I was a youngin'. And I still like it to this day. I've rewatched several episodes on Game Show Network. They had so many great players, which, by the way, that's another thing I want to bring up. One of its big winners was part of a big scandal for this show. In 1984, a self-described unemployed ice cream truck driver named Michael Larson made it onto the show by recording episodes at home on a VCR and playing them back frame by frame, he discovered that the presumed random patterns of the game board were not actually random, and he was able to memorize the sequences to help him stop the board where and when he wanted. On the single game in which he appeared, which, well, they unfortunately had to split into two parts and what have you. Larson spun a whammy on his first turn, but went 45 consecutive spins without hitting another one, which eventually forced CBS to split the episode into two parts. In the end, Larson earned a total of $110,237 in cash and prizes, a record for the highest winnings total by a contestant in a single appearance. And until 2006, when Vikian Trubok-Sodowski, I apologize if I misspelled that name, won $147,517 in cash and prizes on The Price is Right's 35th season premiere. But however, it wasn't quite enough to surpass Larson's inflation-adjusted record. Boy, oh boy. Apparently, later on in 94, TV Guide interviewed him and revealed the background of the episode, including his decision to pass his remaining spins after he lost concentration and missed his target squares. Then there was a 2-hour documentary on GSN titled Big Bucks, The Pressure Luck Scandal in March of 2003. And it featured a special rematch edition in Whammy, featuring the two runners-up from the original show. Let's see. Yes. And of course, plus Tamarkin himself, yes, still before his death, and Michael Larson's brother, James, which apparently Michael died of throat cancer in 99. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. That's just about it. That's all I'm telling you. Press your luck. One of the funniest games that I've come to love. Now, if you have the Buzzer Network, you can check it out. You can also find episodes on Amazon Prime, courtesy of Buzzer. And you can also find full episodes on YouTube as well. I'm glad Fremantle hasn't really blocked them or anything, but I'm just going to tell you, give either of these shows a shot. You can see a little bit of second chance. You can also find episodes of Whammy, the all-new Pressure Luck as well, which GSN did formally re-air that a few years back. I'm not sure if they still do it to this day, but anyway, now you know about Pressure Luck. So, what are your thoughts? Do you like this game? You can tell me in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and be a part of the Big D Nation. And stay tuned. Next time, I will bring to you my ranking of the Zoomers from the second season of the original Zoom. So thanks for watching. And if you like this, you may want to consider checking out excuse me, the last two Wide World of Game Shows episodes. In the upper left-hand corner is the one on Tic-Tac-Toe, which has already gotten 100 views. The upper right-hand corner is the previous episode, and that, of course, was on Past the Buck, a short-lived 78 game. And the bottom left-hand corner is a Saturday morning TV log I did for Eek the Cat. And the bottom right-hand corner is a button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., as well as the wide world of game shows. Now I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.